This recipe for chicken masala is really an old recipe. I remember when I came to America, I worked in a restaurant in downtown Los Angeles, and chicken masala was the most popular dish. It's so easy to cook. We actually had to cook it in advance and keep it warm in the sauce because people were crazy about it. Now I'm gonna show you how we make this famous chicken masala with mushrooms. Now, you know what Marsala is. Marsala is a wine from Sicily. It's sweet. It tastes a little bit like a sweet sherry. Now, you could have it as an aperitif or even drink a little bit with dessert. It's fine. If you don't have Marsala at home and you don't want to go out and buy that, I'm going to show you how to make your own sweet wine at home for your chicken masala. You can still call it chicken masala. Nobody will know the difference. Here, I'm soaking some white raisin in white wine. If you have dark raisin, it's fine. You know, California is a big raisin country here, so we have lots of raisin. To rehydrate the grapes, we put them in liquid and we're gonna bring it to a boil. All right, so while this is boiling, we have our chicken breast here. Always when you work with chicken, put them on a separate board, and now we're gonna just slice them. You can see the chicken breast is not even. So I'm going to slice it at 45 degrees and make even pieces of chicken. All right, just like that. Now you see we have the scaloppinis here. Scaloppini means like escalope or schnitzel. It means a really flat piece of meat. So generally to get it really flat, we have to pound it. Here we have all of our chicken. Okay, and you can see my raisins are boiling here. I'm gonna turn off the pan here so that way it doesn't cook anymore. And I'm gonna let sit my raisin right in the wine here until I use it, all right? Next, we're gonna pound our chicken. I'm gonna oil my chickens lightly so that way they don't stick to my bag here. Okay, so we're gonna put them right in here. All right, so if you wouldn't pound them out, one would be thick, one would be small, they would cook unevenly. So you try to get them as evenly as possible. I just put 2 at a time in here. I could put 3 at a time. So that's about the right thickness. So not only they're gonna get even, but pounding them also tenderizes the chicken a little bit. So that way you get a more tender chicken breast. Okay, the thicker one, you have to beat it a little harder. So you see they're all the same thickness. Here we go. Now we're gonna clean up everything because you know when you work with chicken, you have to have a separate cutting board or at least clean your cutting board really well. And don't forget your hands. All right, now comes the fun part. You know, mise en place is always a little tedious. That's why in the restaurant we have apprentices and young chefs to do that. They do all the chopping, they do everything. At home, maybe you have somebody too. If not, you just have to make all the mise en place first. Then, when you're ready to cook, you have everything there. That's really the most important thing. So now, we have our button mushrooms. You can get them in any grocery store today. You wash them very shortly in cold water, take them out and dry them off right away. So that way you have nice and clean mushrooms. Okay, the most important thing, when you go out and buy mushroom, be sure that you buy them that they are closed on the bottom. You know, once they open up, they soak up all the water and they are not tasty anymore. So it is important to buy mushrooms which are still closed here. So you have nice round buttons. The mushroom should be nice and white, have a good firm touch to it. You don't want when they are soft. It means they are old. Now, here we have our mushrooms. I already have a little chopped shallots, some chopped garlic. I also gonna use a little sage in the sauce. You know, when you make a recipe which doesn't take a long time to cook, you better have everything ready. You don't wanna cook the chicken and then you're gonna start slicing all these ingredients. So get everything ready before, that way you have an easy time. Next, we're gonna season our scaloppinis here on both sides with salt and pepper. And then we're gonna drench them with a little flour and we're gonna saute them. So it's really simple. Let's heat up our pan, a little olive oil or a little peanut oil, whatever you like. We're gonna dust our scaloppini in a little flour, not too much, both sides again. So the flour helps to brown the scaloppini, but also when we make the sauce, it thickens our sauce. All right, you can see my saute pan is heating up here. If the pan is not hot enough, the scaloppinis will start to boil in here and look gray. You want them nicely seared. See now? You get a tiny little smoke already. So now we are ready to put our scaloppinis in our pan. See, you hear the sizzle. Be sure not to crowd your pan too much. The saute pan is still on full heat here, so as hot as your stove gets, put it really hot because you want to brown your chicken scaloppini. You don't have to worry. A little technique you should know. You know, stainless steel cookware, we use it in a restaurant, I use it at home. It's totally non-stick, but you have to heat it up enough. It has to be over 400 degrees. And you don't have to move these things around. Look, it does not stick. They move easily. So what home cooks don't do is heat up the pan enough. Then just let it sit there. Don't get anxious and start moving and moving and moving. It's not necessary. Just keep it simple. All right, let's look underneath a little bit. See, it start to brown already. I leave it 1 more minute. Let's look now here. See that? That's about the right color we want. And if you have a good saute pan, they all should look the same. If they don't look the same, it might not be your fault, it might be your pan. So look at that, beautiful brown meat. So how easy is that without doing anything? We're gonna add half a tablespoon of butter. Once my scaloppinis are almost done, I'm gonna remove them on a plate while I'm making the sauce. Because if I cook it too long in here, then it will get overcooked and then the chicken gets dry. All right, now I'm gonna remove my chicken breast here. And there's just a little butter in here. I leave it and I'm gonna add a little more to it here. Then I'm gonna add some shallots. All right. A little bit of garlic, not too much, just maybe a teaspoon. Okay. Just before they turn brown, we're gonna add the mushrooms. So you get the good smell of lightly browned shallots. All right, now I'm gonna add another tablespoon of butter to it. Salt and pepper. And you know, in Italian cooking, we use a lot of sage. So I'm gonna add 1 leaf of sage for flavor right in here. You can use that as a side dish too. You know, we always talk so fast in our kitchen about sauteing. Sauteing means you jump, you know. Sauté hauteur means high jump. Longueur, sauté longer means long jump. So sauteing is because it jumps. See that? Now you can learn that with rice in there, with beans in there, so while it's cold, and then you can do the same thing. So now I'm gonna deglaze the pan again. You know, you have some of the brown things here, which is really delicious, which is gonna make a good pan sauce here. So here I have the wine. And if you like to, you can add the raisins too. So you're gonna get really a beautiful, sweet pan sauce here. All right, because it's wine, we're gonna reduce it slightly. Let me taste that. Delicious. You know, I have enough flavor of the sage, I'm gonna take it out. So it's good not to chop the sage, you keep the sage whole, or rosemary sprig whole, because when it has enough flavor, you take it out. And now, let me share with you one of my big secrets. You know, when I cook at home, I don't have chicken stock or veal stock handy most of the time. But I always have some mild barbecue sauce or some hoisin sauce. So now, I'm gonna add a little hoisin sauce to my mushrooms here. Hoisin sauce, you can get it in the Asian section of your supermarket. It's very popular, you can find it in every market now. That's gonna thicken the sauce because it's a bean paste, really, so you're gonna add that to the mushrooms. Now, if you don't have hoisin sauce, I'm sure you have some mild barbecue sauce. Excellent. Also, you can keep the sauce just like that, but if you have either and you have a little cream, just add a little bit of manufacturer's or heavy cream here. I think half a cup. So now you have a beautiful sauce here. Now I'm going to put in my scaloppini here with the juice of them and let it all simmer together for a minute, and then we are done. I cover them nicely with the sauce, turn them over a little bit. We have the raisins, we have the mushrooms. I mean, this is an amazing sauce, and I added lots of mushroom to my sauce. You can always add a few fresh herbs, like a little chives, a little parsley. Put that on top. You know what? Sometimes it's great just to serve it in the pan where you cook it. So what you do is you clean up the pan a little bit, just like that with a towel, and you bring it like that to the table, steaming hot. And you will have a beautiful dish of chicken scaloppini marsala. It doesn't get any better. It is inexpensive, it's good for you, it's tasty, delicious, and it doesn't take a long time to cook. That's what I like about it. You know, I don't want to spend 3 hours cooking something, but then I'm too tired to eat. But if I cook it in under half an hour, then it's fun, I will be hungry, and I'm ready to sit down and eat it. Now you learned how to pound out the chicken scaloppini because you want them all to be the same thickness. It's important. You have to flour them lightly so you can brown them in a hot pan. Now that's really the most important lesson. Heat up the pan with a little oil in it until the oil comes to a smoke. Then put in your scaloppini and let them sit there the same way until they get brown. So then you turn it over and finish to cook them. But don't go back and forth and back and forth. And then you deglaze it with a little wine, and I showed you how you can make, instead of buying Marsala, you use some raisins with a little white wine, bring that to a boil, and you get kind of a sweet wine. Now, it's not exactly Marsala, but it's pretty good. Now we're ready to eat, all right? So if you have to wait, your friends or your family are not here for dinner yet, it's so easy. Just warm it up in the sauce. Keep it in a pan hot, put a cover on it if you want to, and that's it. Also, another good trick, if the sauce gets too thick, just add a little stock if you have it, or a little touch of water. Just a tablespoon or two will be fine. All right, so you see, warm it up nicely. Now we're going to plate an order of chicken scaloppini. So really simple, as much or as little as you want on a plate. And you can see here is the goodness right in here. Mushrooms, raisins, a little shallots, a little garlic. It doesn't get any better than that. All right, a few more mushrooms here. That's it. Put them in the center. A little sauce around. A little fresh herb, like a little parsley, a little chives. And here we have our chicken masala. You know, it's a very simple dish, but very tasty. So you can do it in under 30 minutes. With a little practice, in 20 minutes. And now, if you make a similar dish in your home already, something like chicken masala, maybe you'll use a different wine. I would like that you can share it with me because I'm always interested what you cook at home. And you know, this is such a great dish to cook at home because you can keep the chicken warm in the sauce, and that way it will not dry out. It will stay nice and juicy. So if somebody comes a little bit later for dinner, they're still going to get a great chicken scaloppini with masala and mushrooms.